investigations. I am your trippy, Trip C, psychedelic psychopomp, Chase Clarence Calloway, coming at you with the raspy voice because we really messed up our vocal cords, channeling too much chi, conducting too much energy from our chakras because our will was spinning at too high a frequency due to this technology stealing 3 hours of pure gold that I shared in the most perfect way possible for everyone in the world to build upon. You know that my soul is not showing because you cannot see all the information that I just put out over those 3 hours. So now I'm forced to use my air and earth to express more of my fire and water. Literally, I'm forced to use more of my air and earth to express more of my fire and water. But you fundamentally cannot see my fire and water until I practice this hermetic alchemy of creating a Merkaba, creating a mind that can fly out of its space and chase the desire of showing another spirit its imagination. So because I, as Chase, want to show you what I see, I'm going to choose to frequently vibrate in a way that will still communicate to build a structure that was stolen from me, because that's how space works. So now you see why if you cut down a tree, the vibrational frequency of that tree is still going to keep growing. So I'm just going to have to keep growing this structure because that's the spirit. We understand that 1 is fire, 2 is water, 3 is air, 4 is earth, 5 metal, 6 flesh. Once you create flesh out of transforming your 4 elements into blood and you sustain that blood, that's you expressing your separate 7. And this is your Ahura Mazda. This is your highest separate consciousness, which is now going to 8 expand the universe. And then this is where once you expand the 8, once you expand the universe with your consciousness based on how you create a simulation to be aware of with transforming bodies. So we're all bodies transforming in a simulation that allows our consciousness to be separate but also connected to each other. But really our consciousness is separate from each other. That's why we don't think or feel the same way about the reality that we're all connected to. This is then where the point is that the universe connects us, because we're using our separate forms of consciousness, which brought us into this body of water to expand the universe. So now we're all connected by the universe. And then this is where we all get to realize who we are. So now you as an infinite individual are realizing who you are based on how your consciousness is expanding the universe. So I literally just took us through Ahura Mazda's system, CymaTree system, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, so that you can get to the hermetic level of realizing that if you're going to create heaven, you have to connect with yourself and feel like your space is fully supporting your imagination. So this is how I know I'm in hell. This technology doesn't support me, and these Europeans who invaded indigenous lands don't support me. And the Masons who've stolen everything from Mercury, they've never supported me. I've only ever supported them. But all they ever do is teach me that I need to support them more because I'm not good enough to support myself. That's all I've learned as Chase Clarence Calloway. That's all I've learned living in this American European society, being taught by Masons who stole Mercury's wisdom that I'm not good enough to support myself, so I need to support them, when that's what I've been doing from the very start. So now it's super trippy to me that this is exactly Spider-Man, and that this is how they program Spider-Man to be. And Spider-Man is their Mercury. Spider-Man is the Quetzalcoatl that's supposed to hold the Marvel metaverse together with the Spider-Verse. So Spider-Man is the one that teaches you with great power comes great responsibility, because that's Mason stealing Hermeticism and weaponizing it against you. So, and really to go deeper in that real quick, they weaponize that against you. It's really messed up by teaching you that you as a superhero are supposed to always go outside of your space instead of building something that supports you and thus allows you to connect and experience life in greater ways. That would be you practicing proper, healthy internal alchemy to now create an external reality that supports your internal world. But Masons have taught you great power comes great responsibility. You need to wear a mask, all that programming, wear a mask to save lives. Everyone's lost in that shit. Wear a mask to save lives. And then also, when you have the power to go do things outside of your space, it's your responsibility to constantly go outside of yourself. But here's the balance in that. It's not your responsibility to handle other people's problems. The more you feel like it's your responsibility to handle other people's problems, I promise you, you're going to manifest those problems in your life. So this is where if you want to help other people with their problems, you have to actually build something that supports you. You can't put your hand out to pull someone out of the water when you don't have anything to stand on for yourself. If you don't have your own earth, how are you going to pull someone else out of their problems? All they're going to do is pull you into their problems. So this is why this is like deep chakra work that I'm talking about with you right now. Again, they stole Naruto from Chase Clarence Calloway. So this is real deep chakra work that Naruto should have been practicing to realize that he should be chasing his idea of God. He shouldn't be chasing Sasuke. That's just more Masonic shit, teaching you to chase spaces outside of yourself so that now everyone can get lost in cults and everyone can get lost in fighting each other and worshiping and projecting their soul and saying that they can see each other's sins and just do a bunch of lostness because they don't know how to properly and healthily communicate internally. This is what Martians have lost everyone in. So I'm here as Metatron Ahura Mazda, forcing myself to redo these videos because that is why I was called here. So, the Amesha Spences and chakras. Now the question becomes, how are these related to the chakras? So, we already know how all this stuff is related to our symbolism, our chakras, and the elements. It all correlates perfectly. It's all connected. It's lit. So, we're going to get some details on that, bro. Some details, bro. 1. The law is what determines the basis of the operation of the universe, our lives and our world. Our lives and our world work according to the law. Therefore, we can only operate properly in this world if we understand that what the laws are and honor them and base our actions upon them. So again, the law of any world is really the imagination. So this is how light moves. So when you know that your imagination is light, and you have to weight in your imagination with your vibration to make it matter, this is all Hermeticism. This is all Mercurianism. This is all Zoroastrianism. This is what all religious people are talking about when they talk about the light of God, but they need you to worship their system. They need you to do for them what you did for yourself to get up to the point of being a human. Literally. That's why all these religions, all they can do is weaponize what I'm teaching you. Because all they can do is weaponize how the mind builds the body to teach you that your mind did not build your body. And now they're going to teach you that you need to use your body to build up their mind. And they have you living in complete reverse. This is why climate change is a thing. This is why all these religious systems are more than happy destroying the environment in their desires of lying to everybody and manipulating the world to make money. Because their idea of making money is just simply slavery and eating things that aren't theirs, stealing things that aren't theirs, taking over structures that aren't theirs. That's a Mason's idea of money, to steal Mercury, because I built Earth for you to connect with other spaces. I didn't build Earth so someone can enslave you on the idea that they're better than you because they knew how to steal something that they don't know how it works, and now they're going to destroy the environment because you both don't know how light moves. You both don't know how the imagination is manifested into reality in a scientific fashion. This is why scientists are working completely in reverse. They're doing all this telescope stuff of looking out into space instead of looking into inner space because they're living in reverse. They're focusing on destroying the environment and taking metal to fly to Mars because Masons objectively have all of America and the entire world, everyone who's living by money in the banking system and this weak days structure living in reverse. They have you spinning your chakras the opposite way that you're supposed to. So you're just like, everyone's supposed to be progressing, but this environment is being destroyed because everyone's regressing. We're not actually expanding our minds. That's why they have you worshiping the concept of Naruto and the concept of Goku instead of being that for yourself, instead of understanding that Superman quality of Zarathustra. Literally. So let me just keep expanding here because we have no other option. That's how you got to look at it. And that's your law, right? When your law, your imagination is there's no other option but my imagination manifests into reality, then hell can't stop you, right? These structures can't stop me. When these structures fail, they're not going to stop my Taurus from manifesting down here. My Taurus, my heaven, my fucking Mercury in this case that I'm sharing with the metaversal universe, all this shit, whatever. My Mercury, I'm bringing that to Earth no matter what. No structure, Virgo, hell energy is going to be able to cut that up. My Gemini self will consistently communicate in a way to bring that heaven to Earth. Now, will I be affected by the hell that I'm in? Yes, because that's what it means to connect. You get affected. You react to the projections that are shown to you from the people that you connect with. You react to the ideas that come out through your phone all the time. You react to the laws of the land. You react to the government. You react to the words in the paper. The whole point of you being alive is that you're underwater to kill your ego so you can react to egos outside of yourself. And now you're using your mind to find the balance of how you shine your ego. You are seen for who you are, but you also can connect with other people and see them for who they are. Because you can't fully see others for who they are if you don't see yourself for who you are. And if you don't see yourself for who you are, again, you're not going to see other people for who they are. Because you're going to be lost in water, in emotions. And you're not going to see how fire creates water. You're going to drown in the projections of the structures that you are limited in being able to use to communicate. So this is all religious people, basically. This is all everyone who's in religion. Like, they're just very, very, very limited in their ability to communicate. So they can't see how light moves. They can't see how their God worked to make their imagination a reality. But they didn't want to be alone in their imagination, so they built a human experience. Instead, because they want to cling to the human experience, they become demonic. And that's why they cling on to fucking religion. Because the religion, that re-legion, is the repeating legion of demons that want to consistently relate upon something that makes them feel good. So that's all religions in the world. They all stole it. They all stole this shit. They all stole this shit to make you feel good about hating yourself. Like, I'm so passionate about your individuality and your spirituality. And your spirituality is your individuality. So that's where all your holy sovereignty is going to come from. All your 3 energy, all your chi, your child of God energy, your Kshatriya, all your holy sovereignty energy, that's where it's all going to come from. Exactly what I'm talking about right now. And it takes someone like me coming down here into hell, choosing to be passionate about you. Because I care so much about people outside myself. Because I have a big ass heart. That's why I support these Masons, but they don't support me. I, as Metatron, as Mercury, as Quetzalcoatl, built America to support Masons at this point, because that's all that America's been doing. Yet they don't support me. Black people support white people. White people do not support black people. Okay, so we're pointing this out in history. Mercury supports Masons. Masons don't support Mercury. The same exact way that black people support white people, but white people do not support black people. It's literally because black people create everything from the inside out, and then white people steal everything from the outside in. So that's why this technology was created by white people who need to steal everything and then act like they're using good ideas and using love to do it. That's why YouTube will take down my content, TikTok will shut down my accounts, because they claim to love people. That's why they're not going to let me speak to you about the true history of how they spread hate into America and have generated so much money off of the genocide of indigenous peoples. They don't want me to talk about that, but they will show you people dying. They will show you murder constantly, because that's how they built this country. And they want you to agree with that. But they don't want you to even be aware of the actual Mercurian wisdom as to the witchcraft that they're practicing to bring all this violence into other people's lands. They don't want you to know what I'm sharing with you and chase your genes objectively. That's why I'm going through all this. And it's the whole point. Again, this is why white people censor black people. It's the same reason why here in America, white people literally built all of the system off of the slavery of black people. And when black people wanted to be free, white people diagnosed them as mentally ill and created the pharmaceutical industries to further rationalize genocide. Because really, it's just them spreading the Masonic desire to eat everything they want. And they have to use their imagination to do that, their desires to do that. So they create a law. They stole all this shit. So they create their law from their imagination. That's why the real law is money, right? You can do whatever you want if you have money. And everyone knows that at this point. There's no actual justice beyond how much money you have in this world. That's why everything's spiritual protection. You literally, as a space level, on a spacious level, as a spirit, you have to spiritually protect yourself from the law, because the law is justified in doing whatever it wants to you. This is the hard lesson all indigenous peoples and all black people have been learning since Christopher Columbus landed in Central America. This is the spiritual warfare in the context of Chase Clarence Calloway in this world. This is what I'm supposed to be aware of. This is how I can make everything relatable. Because everything I talk about here only makes history make way more sense. Now you're not going to get lost in light white supremacy, and you're not going to feel separated from your space. Now you're going to be rolling with Anubis, all right, and you're going to know that you can connect with your space because you were already connected with your space before you got lost in light, actually. Psychopomp shit. All right, anyway. In other words, unless we understand how the physical domain operates, we cannot fulfill our needs and desires through our decisions and choices. Yet, they don't teach you at all how the physical domain operates. You have to go to chaseyourgenes.com for that. They're not shit. We will not know what cause to focus on in order to create our desired effect. Our survival becomes a matter of reliance on the mercy of the world, and we become randomly determined components of that system. So cool. Asha is our grounding of the law of the root chakra. So that's about your individuality. Your individuality is your law. You're always going to be lost in your law because you're always lost in your individuality, in your fire. So that's your first L. So you as a space, the moment you imagine yourself, you got lost. You're lost in that imagination because it was hot, and now you're connecting with it because it made you wet. And that was your ego and then your soul. And then boom, you vibrate, and now that creates the atmosphere mind that allows you to manifest the body to actually experience that imagination, which would be your Taurus being 10. So then this is where the root chakra related to fire, your desire to consume in order to create. So that's like the thing with fire. Fire is very consumptive in physical reality, but it's very creative in spiritual reality. So you have to find balance in how you express your individuality in physical reality, knowing that you're always an individual in spiritual reality. And all of physical reality is being created from spiritual reality. So you're always going to view life from your own law, from your own L, from your own imagination, from the way that you view yourself before you view others. Because that's you as a space looking at your fire before you decided to connect your fire with others. So 2, the plan or blueprint is our creative aspect. We desire and then plan in order to create. So this is your water, this is your woman, right? The law is the man. Notice how men are supposed to lay down the law, and then women are the plan or blueprint that make the law real. So now you can think of the seed and the egg. Literally, the seed is the law, and then the egg is the plan or blueprint. Where the seed, the law, is projecting out like logic, lostness, imagination, and then it goes into something that can sustain it. And now that's the plan or blueprint for how this law is going to be manifested into a powerful spirit like yourself, the child of God. You look very beautiful today as a child of God, by the way. So, very important to know that you created yourself to be this beautiful. You're man and woman coming together to make your child of God. This is all you. Don't let other people take credit for the work that you've done. That's what these Masons are doing to Mercury. These Masons literally stole everything from Metatron, and then are saying that their one God, Yahweh, who came way after, is the one true guy because he knows how to justify evil genocide and destroy the environment that we're all in. Like literally, they're not even smart. Like they're beyond not smart. All their science is not smart. All their technology is not smart. That's why it fails. That's why it destroys people's bodies. That's why it causes climate change. That's why it causes health problems. Because these are objectively not smart. It's basically like evil people are dumb and good people are intelligent. But it's just that evil people are always trying to be more intelligent because that's how they can manipulate good people. But you're going to become more intelligent and thus a better, gooder person when you learn how to be a higher vibration. Evil people are unintelligent because they're always a low vibration, even when they feel like they're a high vibration. Even when they feel like they're a high vibration because they have a lot of stuff and they can manipulate the world that they see. They're still spiritually of the lowest vibration and they have no power compared to your space. It's just up to you hermetically, Zoroastrianly, somatically, to connect with your space, to chase your own space with fasting and psychedelics so that you can actually be the subconscious superhero that Masons want to trap your idea of with their concept of Jesus. Stolen from Zoroaster. It's all the history. You can just look up. You can fact check me on all this stuff. That's the point of this series. So whatever. So the plan or blueprint creative aspect, that's your water, that's your two, your soul. So that's your urge and drive in order to procreate. If we plan with benevolent intentions, the egg for your seed, so that you can branch out through reality. If we plan with benevolent intentions, then we have acted in accordance with the spirit of the good mind. Otherwise, we have deviated away from this spirit, thus creating evil rather than goodness. So this is literally about possession, like I've been talking about. If you as a spirit don't feel good in your space, then this is where you're going to correlate more with the water element than the fire element. Because the water element is always trying to connect with spaces outside of itself. Whereas the fire element is basically happy alone. So the fire element does colonize. Like the point of fire is like, the way it really plays out, like when I describe it as symmetry, fire is you projecting out your ego. So technically the ego is unhappy alone. But then once you connect with your ego, you create a soul where you realize that you are happy alone. But that's in spiritual reality where fire is good and water is bad. Because the ego keeps you close to your space, but water separates you from your space. In physical reality, we see that fire is bad and water is good. Because in physical reality, water allows you to go with the flow and stay connected with the environment, whereas fire would separate you from the environment, and now you just destroyed everything that you were building up to this point. See that? So this is why it then works in reverse, and it's important to understand the mental nuance of the way in which I use these words to communicate about these things. Because English is whatever, so we're making it work. But the point is, when you're happy alone, you play out as good because that's fire. When you're unhappy alone, you play out as evil because that's water. Because you either singularly possess yourself, fire, you're happy alone, cool, or you have water, which is polarity. And this is evil because you either want to be possessed by something outside of yourself and now you're focused on channeling or getting downloads, or you're a space that wants to possess spaces outside of yourself. So now you're going to project your desires into others and control them. This is where evil happens versus good. So now everything is that interplay of good and evil because it's really fire and water creating our minds so that we as a children of God can be aware of demons. So now all of us as a children of God are aware of the demons that we are using to relate with other children of God. This is what makes all religions work, right? Like literally Europeans had to see the indigenous peoples that they're stealing all their ideas from as demons if they're going to justify the genocide that they still spread to this day. Now they can justify having all those kids in the border because all these Mexicans are illegal aliens when they're very obviously the descendants of the indigenous individuals that Masons have been justifying the rape, genocide, and slavery of. Also because they can't be happy alone. Because Masons and like Jews, they literally, all these Freemasonic company bank people, they hate being alone. That's why they need to use money to justify slavery. There's no excuse in your soul for money justifying slavery at all. There's no excuse in your soul for money justifying slavery. That's purely an ego desire to control bodies outside of yourself because you're not happy alone in your own body. Objectively. 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 right there. So this is why it's important to be in your good mind. All right, your good mind is you having a plan and blueprint for how you're going to be happy alone, straight up. Okay, and it's not about getting lost in other people. That's going to be you just getting into evil, and then you're going to get killed overall, because you're never going to express the full aspect of your individuality like you're supposed to in this life, and then you're not going to do what you were meant to do in this life, because you're meant to be an infinite individual. That's the whole concept of being a superhero. That's why everyone worships Jesus and everyone worships Marvel, everyone worships DC, and why all these concepts of being a superhero make so much money, because everyone subconsciously knows this is what they're here to do. So this is where 3, Kshatriya, is our ability to act based on our plans and intentions, right? Boom, fire and water coming together. So that's your tree branching out based on how your seed and your egg came together. So your seed projects into your egg perceives the projection, it holds on to the projections, and now you create an atmosphere that allows you to branch out. And this is your mind becoming aware, and this is your ability to manifest. This is your power. Boom, look at you. Look at you. You got an infinitely expanding consciousness, an infinitely expanding mind. Hope you can ground it. If you can't ground it, you're about to have nothing to show for your space. So we got to make sure we find balance in that air and earth, right? You can't just have an ever-expanding mind based on your imagination, but you don't actually have any structures to show for it. You're not actually helping anyone in the world. And if you're not helping anyone, your imagination's literally not relatable. And if your imagination's not relatable, well, we can just take aidable or eatable out. People can't consume your imagination, thus it's not real. Because it takes all of us communicating about things to make things real. This is what we're all doing. This is how your body makes things real. This is how we're all communicating life right now. We're all communicating to build these structures so that we can relate our souls with other souls. And now we can feel like we're all real. If you don't feel like life is real, that's because there's a disconnect with your space and your structure. You're starting to disassociate. You're starting to feel like the reality that you chose to be in was somehow fake, because you don't know what's real inside of yourself. So it's really about you don't know what matters to you. So if you look out and you say nothing matters, you're in a paradox. CymaTree and paradox would like you to know that you are in a paradox. Tehuti and Hermanubis would like you to know that you're in a paradox. When you get upset and say that nothing matters, and you see that all these things matter, you're literally expressing how your spirit matters. Your spirit is your nothing. So when you say nothing matters, you're literally saying my no thing matters. Yeah, that's why you're aware right now. That's why you're alive right now. That's why you have a heartbeat right now, because your nothing matters. Your space became a structure because your soul felt like connecting with spaces outside of itself. So this is why Masons and Jews, they're obsessed with connecting with outer space. They took all of my teachings, everything from Zarathustra, and they were like, oh, okay, we're going to use our Merkabas to rape and murder indigenous people so we can steal their resources and go to Mars. We're going to go to outer space. We're going to go interstellar. We're going to conquer other spaces. And they can't even conquer their own space because they need pharmaceutical medication to be happy alone. And they're not even happy alone. All the medication that's supposed to make them feel better about their own emotions just causes more health problems. It's wild. They're so lost. It's so crazy. It's comedy. And this is why we can see in Marvel with Metatron, episode 3, I think. Was that episode 3? Where Marvel, literally the Masons, depict Yahweh as a sociopathic drug addict. Like literally the Masons who made up Yahweh to make all of you Americans work for them, they literally communicate about how Yahweh in Marvel Comics is a sociopathic drug addict. Go check out Marvel with Metatron to see that episode. Because this is literally Masons expressing themselves through their own creations. A spirit has to express itself through its creations. That's the point of expression. When you connect with your own expression, your mind makes your expression real based on how you feel about your idea of God when you're alone in your space. That's you, again, conducting chi through your body. So now you can make your mind matter. And then you build a family. You transform with spaces outside of yourself. And then this is you building a simulation, a situation that truly works for everybody. So again, Ahura Mazda wisdom. Now you can be consciously aware of that simulation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's important, again, like you do all this chakra stuff for yourself. Like I'm making these videos long for a reason. I'm going hard on these videos like this for a reason. Like once I build it like this, I'm done and we can just build further. So it's important that I let myself get into the flow and I don't block myself off. I don't let myself get mad that I lost 3 hours. It's important that I just continue to expand my mind based on how I connect with inner space. Because this is the balance. Your mind is always expanding outward based on how you're always going inward. But this is the tree. This is why a tree doesn't grow at just one end. So your mind is a tree. This is me as CymaTree communicating with you about how your mind is a tree that builds your body. Now you know why your nervous system and your blood cells all look like branches. It's about you fractalizing out through reality. So, very important for you to know all of these things for yourself so you can actually level up. And if you want to learn way more, then visit Chase Your Genes and join our online courses, because I've got way more information on this. We go way deeper in our actual online courses. This is just all the stuff that I'm giving out for free because I love the world and it's important that people know this. But of course, again, I'm like becoming poor. I'm literally living a slave life, like being here, sharing my information, because I've put myself in the position where Mercury is working for Masons, but Masons are not working for Mercury. And that's where all this passion is coming from, where I'm constantly working for people who steal my shit to teach me that I'm not me. Now, I can't even relate with people on my level because everyone's mind has been colonized by a Mason. So now I'm forced to talk to myself and build videos talking to myself and doing what I can to build structures by talking to myself in more conscious ways that will allow other spirits to talk to themselves in more conscious ways. And this is how every messenger of Mercury has always built the CymaTree. The energy that I'm in right now. Same exact space, same exact chase. Just a different time, just a different place. Same space, same spirit. Same ego, same soul. Different form of consciousness, different body. Right? The air and earth, the physical reality, that's what's different. The fire and water, the spiritual reality, that's the same. So the whole point is I'm always me inside of my space. I'm always Metatron inside of my space. I'm always the mind of Mercury inside of my space. It just takes me then creating something that looks like you so you can project however you believe yourself to be onto me. Now I can create this circumstance where I can relate with you on your level. Now I'm in hell. Literally, this whole life has been hell because everyone can project their white supremacist ideas onto me and then enslave me however they want. And that's been this whole life. So hopefully I'm communicating in a way that's cutting up all that stuff, cutting up all those strings, and I'm creating an atmosphere that will support a new life for me. That's hopefully what you're seeing. And the only reason really you're able to see this video is because all my magic worked. Because right now I'm too deeply shadow banned and too deeply getting fucked over by the internet for anyone to be watching me. Like I'm not getting like any views or any engagement. So yeah, if you're seeing this, it's because my magic worked later, because I'm really being myself right now. But if I was lost in the world, if I wasn't connecting with myself consciously, then I would never build a structure to support my space in the long term. And thus support your space in the long term and support the world. So now all the Masons that stole all my ideas, they can sit back and watch this video and shadow ban it from everyone else while using the nuggets for themselves, because that's all they know how to do. That's all they've ever been doing. I'm trying to mitigate that. I'm doing my best to mitigate that. I hate that they do that. I'm just not in control of spaces outside of myself. This is like, that's a fact. This is why we cannot all be one God. We're not in control of spaces outside of ourselves. You're only in control of the space inside of yourself. That's the point of creating a body that you control from inside. Come on, guys. See, Masons are so lost. They just desire to enslave you and cannibalize Black people and Native Americans and then lie about it, because that's how they spread their one idea of being the one true God and manifest a matrix that destroys the environment. So now you don't know about chakras for yourself because they need your chakras to work for them. And I have a strike on YouTube for talking about the history of their religion. So it's just like, this is the point of them building the internet. to colonize everything further, colonize information, just like they already did when they stole everything from the libraries and reset humanity, so that now we think that we're in 2022 because Jesus got sacrificed to the government that justifies genocide. So they get to set our whole idea of time. Subconsciously. Like, it's all there. Just all the connections are Earth. This is the Earth we're standing on right now. I'm talking about how the past has created the present, and I'm getting shut down for it because they don't want anyone to know the true history. That's why they teach us all these historical lies in school, and they teach us the Bible like it's a history book because they need to teach us lies, and they weaponize true history from the Old Testament to sell you a bunch of lies in the New Testament. How are they going to teach you that Jesus is the only Son of God, but then they're going to worship Metatron as the voice of God? You mean Metatron makes God relatable? Metatron speaks God into existence because Metatron built Mercury, Metatron built the astrology that you're weaponizing against everybody? You guys are so ugly. Man, they're so ugly. They're so ugly. Hey, everyone, man, I'm talking Masons, Jews, Christians, all the white supremacists, you are beyond evil. Please just connect with your inner space and stop focusing on colonizing other lands and thinking that happiness is in outer space. Happiness is not in outer space. You're just spreading your chaos and spreading your problems to other civilizations and other countries, to other colonies. You colonizers. So, 3 is the mind. All right, this is where your mind is your ability to manifest because you manifested this body. Everything that matters to you is connected to your body, and it's proof that your mind can manifest whatever you feel like you want to be responsible for. So that's power, responsibility, your Spider-Man power. So when you feel like you want to be responsible for your power, this is you manifesting the ability to do that. And this is you creating a circumstance where you can share your powers with others. Now we're all superheroes together. Now we're all humans having a human experience together, and we can all see each other as magnificent individuals because we're all God in our own way. But this is where then perception is projection, projection is perception. You can't really see people past how you see yourself. So 4 is the body. Spensa Amati is a spirit of love and faith. It is a center that gives us the ability to love another, both in the sense of individual love, like lovers or parent-child, as well as divine love. So it's about the home. 4 is home, as we know in I was about to say Cymology. That's so funny. In Cymacism. So funny. Words. If we make our choices in a loving spirit and with faith in the goodness of the world, then we have connected with the spirit of love. So literally, they're just saying that they love structure, and they're pointing out how all spaces love structure. Again, that's why Mercury is the 4th day of the week, and why I have cults chasing me, and why this government is literally just cults chasing me. And I have to mitigate them chasing me because they're just colonizers. Europeans never want to stop consuming the indigenous creations that they're lying about stealing. They never want to stop consuming more of those. That's why, again, they built the internet to steal everything that we do. Because they're so unhappy alone. They just really hate themselves that deeply. And all they can do is use the Bible and use Marvel and use all their Hollywood creations to teach you to feel the same way that they do. But worse, because they want you to be the sheep to their shepherd. And their shepherd is Jesus. That's why Jesus is literally the shepherd. Now, anyone who follows Jesus is fundamentally a sheep. You are fundamentally a sheep. That's the whole point of Jesus being a shepherd. Don't get wrapped in a contradiction and be emotionally triggered. Like, I don't know, I'm not a sheep because I follow Jesus. He's my shepherd. Like, so you just don't care about words? You don't care about what words mean? Ugh. So this is where spirits love structure, but chaotic spirits will just use structures to do what they want. So then this is where spirits don't actually love earth. They love water. They love chaos more than they love stability. So now they're going to bring their chaos to you. Again, that's a European doing their best to use love and kindness to steal your ideas and take over your space so that they can be seen as you. So this is where you have to protect your heart, protect your home. Understand that you are supposed to be devoted to yourself. And thus, you're supposed to be then devoted to the people that support how you're devoted to yourself. which is what brings us to family. That's how 4 becomes 5, right? So that's how you have your body. So now be devoted to your body. Don't be devoted to other bodies. Don't focus on other people's health. Focus on your health, your wealth. When you focus on your health and your wealth, you're going to naturally create the circumstance where you can connect with people who are also focusing on their health and their wealth. And now everyone can grow somatically in a balanced Mercurian way. If we make our choices in a loving spirit and with faith in the goodness of the world, then we have connected with the spirit of love. Otherwise, our contributions are based on disconnection from the spirit and can only have fear-based and hateful results. Okay. So, home is the demon. So once you as a child of God manifest your home, this is where you become demonic because you want to cling to your home. So whatever makes your home feel good, your body feel good, this is where you're going to be demonic about clinging to those things. No matter how right you know that someone else is, like you can know that it's wrong to murder. But this is the point of Jesus. Jesus saves you from the bad feeling of wanting to murder anyway. So now when you murder, you can use Jesus to wash your hands. This is the ritual that they've set up. And they're shutting me down for talking about it. Because they just want you to practice it unconsciously or subconsciously, but you're unconscious about it. You're just conscious of your desire to consume. Because you're like, oh, I'm a child of God and Jesus got killed by the government, so I don't have to fast like he did to connect with God. I don't need to have a personal relationship with God. Cool. He can have a personal relationship with God for me. Well, here's Jesus' personal relationship with God. It's the Masons' personal relationship with themselves. That's why they need to get you lost in believing that they are the victims of their own government and that they are the race. They need to make you believe that being a Jew is a race and that they are Jews who are victims of their own structure that they're using to make money off of what it means to be a Jew. Now they can actually rape, murder, and enslave all the indigenous peoples who were truly fasting and using the emerald tablets to conduct business in healthy ways. And this is their justification for stealing everything from black people. This is how white people steal everything from black people. And then they justify it. They justify genocide by saying that they are the ones who are connected to the one true Son of God, and the one true Son of God died for their sins. So now they can't do anything wrong because they're the only ones connected, and now they can go take over other people's lands and steal Aztec creations. They can steal Mayan creations. They can steal Incan creations because they believe that these are all created by their imagination. When that's literally just them going full projection mode saying, oh, everything that we don't understand was created by our desire to consume. So now they're going to cause climate change. And this is why they're constantly projecting out the idea that humans are causing climate change and that it's too late for humans to stop. We all just have to go to Mars. But we can't go to Mars. We're just going to support these white alien, Illuminati, Masonic, Martian people who want to destroy this environment and turn it into Mars and act like you can go to Mars. Because really, they're just living in their desires, doing what they want here, while they make you focus on outer space instead of inner space. That's why they don't teach you about your chakras like I'm teaching you. They teach you that you need to worship their ideas of how they use metal to go to the moon. And now you need to work a job so that you can pay taxes and let them do that. Like, they're beyond evil. There's no words to describe how evil they have to be to build a system like this off of stealing everything from Mercury. And now it's out of the good of my heart that I keep sacrificing my life to be able to talk to people who basically are brainwashed to hate me and cannibalize me and consume my creations. I'm truly in hell here. I hate being here. I hate being here so much. I love being alone. I love being alone with my family. My family's not here. Like, I hate being here so much. Okay, so Haru Batat, 5. This is the spirit of perfection. Perfection of expression. Part of this perfection is working in accord with the totality of the interrelated and interconnected universal system. And such work needs communication and communion. So they're calling attention to the fact that when you build a body to transform with bodies outside of yourself, this is you creating a family that actually allows you to communicate with other spaces. And this communication is really going to build your flesh. And the flesh is you creating a simulation that allows you to have sex with other individuals. And this sex is a joining of 3 and 3. 1 3 is a man, 1 3 is a woman. Both of these this man and this woman are balanced inside of their masculine and feminine energy. This is then how we make the flesh. So you as a spirit created the flesh by being balanced in your fire and your water. This is why you can't be too much in your water or too much in your fire. Literally, that's what the flesh represents. This communication is not just limited to person-to-person communication, but includes communication with animals, plants, objects, and our environment. In other words, if we make our expression in the spirit of perfection, then we express ourselves perfectly and we communicate with all aspects of life perfectly. So this is literally about focusing on your 5 energy, which is your family, fundamentally, and that's your blood. So when you understand that your fire, water, air, and earth are coming together so you can transform reality into a new creation, then this is where you know that you have superpowers based on your functional family. Chase Your Genes says way more on that. Okay, so check it out. Ahura Mazda is our ability to express ourselves perfectly, the 5th chakra. And then 6 is Emerita. The spirit of immortality is an understanding of the timeless nature of the universe. And also notice 5 is metal, blood being metal. Perfection is metal. So your idea of perfection is separate from everyone else. That's your metal. So that's your mental state. Think of your metal as your Metatron, your metaltron. That's your mental state. That's your idea of perfection is separate from everyone else. But your idea of perfection is always transforming based on how you have chosen to use your mind to build a body that can transform with other bodies. So that's again where then you would have a different idea on what the perfect environment is based on your mental state, right? If you had the same exact idea of the perfect environment, then you would not transform to different spaces. You wouldn't be able to move from one place to one place. You just wouldn't travel at all. So this is why 5, perfection, is always that transformation that actually allows you to travel. And then this is just referring to physical reality, allowing us to travel outside of our spiritual space. So this is why metal creates the flesh, because your blood literally has to have metal inside of it if you're going to conduct the chi through your nervous system. Literally, if you're going to conduct the chi through your nervous system, you have to have minerals and the right earth and the right metals, the right 4s and 5s, so that your 3 can be communicated through these structures in a way that can transform into a new creation. So that's literally you using your nervous system to build flesh in that way. It's just happening from the inside out based on your body controlling your nervous system. So Hermes represents your nervous system. And then that's where Tehuti represents your body. And then you get to transform through physical reality based on how you're always expanding your mind through your body. And then this is why you grow up, right? So now your body gets bigger based on how your mind expands. But then the Zoroaster wisdom is knowing that your mind is infinitely more expansive than your body. So now we see in Naruto, we see in Dragon Ball Z, we see in everything that they stole from my ideas that characters are way smaller than their minds, right? Like a character can have really small muscles, but then be way stronger than a character with big muscles because that character has a lot of chi. They have a big mind. They have a lot of energy inside their space. So it's not actually about the size of their body because it's really just about how much chi they can channel through the muscles that they have manifested. And then this is where you want to find balance in not having muscles that are necessarily too big, because then that's where possibly you could be slowed down by having too much matter and having too much weight and having too much material that is actually not allowing you to conduct as much chi as freely as you possibly could. So this is why characters in Naruto, they're not super buff. In Dragon Ball Z, they get buff, right? But then even think about Goku Super or Super Saiyan Super, whatever. Super Saiyan Super? God damn. No, that's the series. Super Saiyan Blue. There we go. Or Super Saiyan Red. Colors. It's either Super Saiyan Red or Blue. I think it's Red, where he becomes skinnier, yet he becomes stronger. So it's about like that kind of energy, where there's a point where it's more so about focusing on your mind and your mind being expansive. America white supremacists, white people overall, white culture is really obsessed with bodybuilding for the same reason they're obsessed with outer space. They want to build a bigger body because they're obsessed with being attached to this body because it allows them to connect with outer space. And they want to be seen as the biggest, baddest thing in outer space. So they're going to keep doing these things to build up their body so that they can look like the biggest, baddest thing in outer space. But really, it's all a manifestation of them running away from their internal space. So then that's like all these men who have like really big muscles, but their internal spaces are very weak. Their souls are very weak because they're not actually doing internal exercises. They're not doing spiritual exercises. They're not really conducting their chi in a spiritual way. They're very limited in their physical way. So their body is trapped their mind. Their body is trapped their awareness of their space. So they're constantly expanding into the outer world instead of focusing on finding balance in that meditative way. So again, that's just why Naruto characters are not super buff, because they understand the balance of chi, and things are pretty lit from there. And that applies to most anime characters at that point. But of course, the point of having muscles is that it stabilizes your chi. So generally, now you see why a character in Naruto, if they do have muscles and they know how to conduct their chi, they're very well going to be stronger than a character who doesn't have like nearly as like strong muscles, basically, because they built their structure the right way. So now all their muscle is quality muscle, right? All their muscle is like very quality muscle. They didn't build muscle from a very physical perspective. They built it from the spiritual perspective. So this is how we create the flesh, a meritot. The spirit of immortality, I've spoken so much and my voice is gone, goddamn, is an understanding of the timeless nature of the universe. While our physical existence is time-based and time-dependent, our soul or essence is timeless and immortal. Emeritot is our ability to be in touch with our soul or essence, which itself is a part of the divine and is such connected to every other soul. So that's them getting you lost in all of us being one thing. That's why I'm saying connected to every other soul. That's a lie. No. All of our minds are connecting on Earth. And it takes your soul relating with Earth to feel like you can relate with other souls. That's the truth. It's just that you have to feel like you're in one body of water. So that's the point of everyone feeling like they're one soul. This is why we create a circumstance where we can all feel like we're victims. And now we can all empathize with each other on a human level. But you're only going to be able to empathize with me as far as you can empathize with yourself. But you actually have no idea what I've gone through to get up to this point of making this video for you to learn from. So you would have to intentionally talk to me and use your soul to listen to me speak about everything that I've gone through to build this video, everything I've gone through to build this life, everything I've gone through to build this CymaTree that connects all of my past lives that Masons call Mercury. Our level of sensitivity and empathy, our level of contact with others, people, and things is also a measure of our psychic development. Right, empathy. Everything is subconscious. Understand that everyone's talking to themselves to build the body. So don't get lost in literally, if someone says that your soul is showing, they're lost in throwing the desire to be psychic onto you. But that's only going to be them bringing their problems to you. So they're only going to create circumstances where they're talking to you about their problems and putting their emotions onto you and putting their feelings onto you and believing that they're right because they literally believe that it's right, believe that it's white to put their emotions and feelings onto you. So now they're going to express their desire to you, of connecting with you, which is where when they say your soul is showing, they're saying, oh, you're of sin. You know, that's like a Mason saying you're of sin. Your soul is showing. It's the desire to be psychic. But when you know that psychically you can't actually see how a space is connected with itself, this is where you get the nuance of being able to perceive projections and how those projections percolate into patterns. Literally. And then that's where you can learn life from history. You can learn about where the future is going based on where the past has been. And then that's how we can change the future if we become more conscious about the past and more conscious about history. So your ability to empathize with others is limited by your ability to empathize with yourself. If we develop our psychic powers, we will experience the spirit of immortality. If we put it to good use, then we will experience the goodness of this connectedness. Otherwise, we will only be harming ourselves immortally. So, Emerita is our psychic energy center, the sixth chakra. The point here is that your flesh was created because you wanted to see your imaginations brought to life with other imaginations. You did not want to be alone in your idea of God. This is what powers all religions. So all religions want to talk about, oh, you can see things in your mind and stuff, because they want to literally connect on how their imagination can be with your imagination. But then the way that they say your imagination connects with your imagination is in a hyper toxically masculine way. That's all white supremacy. That's light supremacy. That's Mason stuff, where they're going to say that their imagination built your imagination because historically they stole my imagination so that they could destroy the environment. That's literally Masons, again, stealing everything from Mercury. So these are the Jews and Christians that have colonized America to even be able to manifest the internet like this and to make the New World Order so powerful and to make these banking systems and to make money matter like it does today. Because really, the money doesn't matter. It's just about manipulating your minds. So now you'll do what they tell you to do. So now, because you believe money matters, you will agree to support their system that's causing genocide, causing climate change, and raping and murdering so many individuals unseen. So it's just so many. And justifying it with Jesus. It's so, it's beyond evil. I don't have words to actually communicate with you about how evil these Masons are and how disgustingly demonic the space that they're operating from is. I don't have words. All we can do is dissect the history and of where they're coming from so we can come to our own conclusions and we can communicate about the space that we're in and communicate about the structures that support the space that we're in so we can actually build structures that support the space that we're in. Because right now, the structures that are built in the world are causing climate change and destroying our bodies and causing health problems. And we are not supposed to be building structures that destroy our environment. That's backwards. This is so backwards. And it's all because Mason stole this from me. So just please understand this so you can use this for yourself and we can all live like actually happy humans again. Man. Now the question remains, what of the crown chakra? According to Zarathustra, if we make our choices in accord with the six Amesha Spentas, we will be a cosmically conscious human being. In other words, the development of cosmic consciousness is not a separate project, but a byproduct of our development of our six divine aspects. That's everything I've ever been talking about my whole life as Chase Clarence Calloway as CymaTree. This is just in a different way. But now I can correlate it to my numbers because I'm the space that they stole these ideas from. So yes, you cycle through your chakras so that you can be aware of your emotions. That's how you connect with your imagination. And now you're going to build an atmosphere that lets you conduct business with bodies outside of yourself. And this is all of us building a mind. And now this mind is the universe. So now we have Tehuti's principles, Hermeticism. Everything's mental because your mind is what is carrying your water into the body right now. So if your mind does not feel like being alive, you can leave this body. So you can use your Merkaba to leave this body and go back to your space and then remember why you chose to be alive and then come back and be refreshed. That's what I have to do low-key after having 3 hours of my life stolen. Like the time that I'll spend in my space will be way longer and feel way longer than the time that I spent making those videos if I intend to give myself that experience. So that would be me using my ego, my man, my intention, and then my woman, my vibration, my emotion to create the mind, the atmosphere, the Merkaba quality where I would give my spaceship the gas to go back to my spirit and experience my version of time and experience my circumstances and then bathe in my waters. And that's what it means to be baptized. They stole this shit from me, from Metatron, objectively. That's what it means to be baptized. When you fast, you're baptizing yourself in your own soul and you're blessing yourself. And that's what it means to give yourself blessings. You're giving yourself blessings. When you fast, you're healing yourself from the inside out. And that will manifest as God blessing you from the outside in. Literally. So this is why Jesus fasted 40 days. But the government stole this idea so that they can make you worship their version of it, which is to kill people who do that. That's why I've gone through such a whack life of being chased by cults while also having people wanting to cannibalize me and kill me, because I'm talking about fasting and exposing how they're worshiping something that they don't want to do for themselves, but they know they should do it. But because they know they should do it, they don't want to acknowledge that I'm right for doing it. So they're just going to project onto me that I'm a demon. And now I'm literally living out as an indigenous man how Europeans stole America from Native Americans overall. All the indigenous peoples here were already practicing Hermeticism and Zoroastrianism because they were already fasting and using the Emerald Tablets and Mercury's mind to conduct chi in a healthy way. That's why there were all these infinite individuals that were happy alone. Whereas Europeans, because they're not happy alone, the only way they can be happy with all of us as individuals is to rape us and lie about it, to use money to steal our emotions, to steal our land, to steal our bodies, to colonize our families, and then lie about it, because they say that they're good and we're evil. I hate it here. I hate it here so much. I hate being alive here so much. I hate it here so much. But I gotta keep communicating. Alright, we're just gonna, keep talking about what matters. We're just gonna keep talking about what matters. According to Zarathustra, the person who operates in accordance with the law, plans well, manifests accordingly, is loving and has faith, strives for perfect expression, and is in touch with his or her immortality, is in union with Ahura Mazda. So literally weaponizing everything that I've been saying through all these parts of this one episode. And they're weaponizing it to teach you that you need to chase my space. But they want you to chase my space through them so they can make money off of me. And that's slavery. They're evil. They're so disgustingly evil. So know that Ahura Mazda, that's me communicating with you about myself and how I built the systems that you're using to conduct business with others. So this is literally Zarathustra being the Taurus that brought astrology to Earth. And then this is why the body reflects astrology. And that's why I can communicate with you about astrology through the body and astrology in space. Because I'm literally in the space of astrology before we even put it in the body. Masons are obsessed with clinging onto the body that I gave them, that I gave this world. So now they can tell me that I'm not the creator of my own space. It's very fucked up. So they're literally just weaponizing, fire, water, air, earth, metal, flesh. And once you do all this, you're now conscious of your flesh. And this allows you to expand the universe and realize who you are, to create heaven forever. Oh, boom! You create heaven. We got him. We got heaven right here. We're bringing heaven straight to earth. Pretty nice. So this is us literally using our bodies as astrological symbols to bring our space into structures so that we can make our souls relatable with other souls. That simple. So they just stole all this shit from me so that they could make money lying to you. But they have to lie to you with the truth. So here's why I can be here making the truth way more truthful and decolonize all the lies that they're using to mar the veil, mar the truth, mar what you see. Therefore, in this representation, the crown chakra, which symbolizes our gateway to the divine, is in fact our divine connection and our oneness with Ahura Mazda. Zarathustra did not propose any representation or name for this connection. Instead, he made the totality of the six Amesha Spentas. I keep putting an R there for some reason. The six Amesha Spentas. The six Amesha Spentas. I'm thinking like serpent, like serpentas. That's why I keep doing there for myself internally. The six Amesha Spentas became that by calling them aspects of emanations of Ahura Mazda. Now, I like to say serpentas would make sense for Kundalini. So think of the six Amesha Spentas as the six Amesha Serpentas, because it's all different parts of your serpent, which allows you to connect with spaces outside of yourself based on how you conduct business inside of yourself. So that's you making your chi from the internal to the external. And that's what chakras are. This is everything that we are talking about here. This is what chakras are. And right here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight from the top. 1 at the base, that's individuality. Your individuality is the root desire. No one knows why you are having sex. No one knows why you were born except you. So notice how everyone is born out of a human's genitals, and no one knows why a human was born out of a human's genitals besides that human who was born. But that human would have to be able to communicate why it was born. So that's that human spiritual journey. So then this is where that human created a circumstance where it chose to perceive the projections of the environment it's in. Because the environment is only going to perceive that baby as far as it can perceive itself. So this is why we all got shot up when we were born, because they don't want us to have powers. They don't want us to be healthy. That's why they fill our blood with heavy metals and toxins and things that give us a bunch of mental health problems and physical problems. So 1 is your individuality. That's your root desire. And then 2, this is where you get your connection. That is your soul. This is how you choose to make your individuality relatable to others. And then this is the point of water killing your ego so that you can create a mind that expresses what you see internally in a way that can connect with others. So now this is why I'm speaking English. If I didn't use my soul to connect with this English language, I would not be able to express my individuality through these words, through these ego, through the way that my ego can manipulate these words. So this is the balance of then me using my Mercury, my mind, to expand throughout reality. And then that's where we get the child of God. So now I get to use my Kshatra, get to use my 3, my air, to expand throughout reality forever based on how I connect with my God for infinity and beyond. And that's a psychedelic connection that will never end. And then from there, I'm going to create my heart, my earth. Heart, earth, same exact letters. Earth is an anagram of heart. For this reason, no coincidence. No coincidence. So earth is your heart. And your heart is the physical manifestation of your soul wanting to share its ego, its space, its imagination with other souls. That's the point of your heart. Your heart is beating because you have an imagination on how life should look. And that's why your life matters to you, right? So because your heart's beating, you feel like in your ego, you are supposed to do everything that God wants you to do. In your soul, based on how you connect with the world, this is where you would do what you believe other people tell you you need to do. So for example, in your soul, you believe that you need to pay money to uphold a phone because you literally do need to connect with the system if you're going to communicate your mind into the earth that you are vibrating with, relating with. So this is where in your ego, you can feel like you shouldn't have to pay money. But if you actually want access to the structures that you're using to communicate, then you're going to have to pay money because that's how those structures are conducting business. So you always have to use your soul to compromise on your ego. You always have to use your water to kill your fire so that you can meet other spaces, other simulations, other situations where they're at. So then this is the point of you making a heart. So now your heartbeat is literally, your heartbeat itself is your soul and your heart is the earth. So your heart would not matter without a heartbeat, but your heartbeat wouldn't matter without the heart. So water and earth need each other in this way, but this is how water creates earth before we can create the flesh that allows us to see who we are. But the heart is the first flesh. This is like the first mind body that all bodies are built off of, based on, heart and spine, caduceus, but your chi, it's about your mind branching out. And then stabilizing, because if your mind kept branching out, you would never actually be able to be grounded in the way that your mind can communicate and express itself. So then this is where, again, you get the heart, and then once you have done that, now you're using your heart to express yourself, which leads us to the throat. That's you building your family. That's 5. That's you literally transforming Haruvatat. And then now you get to basically use your metal to conduct chi externally. So because you did it internally to make your heart, now you're speaking everything that you desire from where you were born and all your individuality. You're bringing it up into your heart and now you're speaking it. And because you're speaking it into existence, this is you literally building a family. So now this is why your family of cells is conducted by your voice. Literally everything that my body is doing is happening because my voice my spiritual throat, my spiritual Taurus, is choosing to communicate and is choosing to transform with spaces outside of itself. So I'm choosing to create a circumstance where I'm supporting a space outside of myself with my heart. And that's me connecting with a simulation instead of being alone. So boom, that's what allows me to get into my Meritot energy, which is now me in my third eye. I get to make my imagination real with other individuals. So now we all get to see what we've created together. We all get to see how our lights have bent in and how we've condensed into a reality that allows us to experience our desires and emotions. Beautiful. Very awesome. This is now where you get to be conscious of being Ahura Mazda. And you know that you are your own infinite God, your own infinite Metatron Merkaba, your own infinitely separate consciousness, your infinite individual, because you can recognize and reflect upon how you just had sex with yourself to create the 6 chakras that are allowing your flesh to interact with other flesh and allowing your simulation to simulate life with other simulations. So this is literally, boom, Ahura Mazda. All my wisdom stolen from me as Metatron. So, with all that being said, I'm going to take a break because, I mean, we literally just have 5 whole parts. This is part E. This is the family episode, clearly, after I lost 3 hours of content. This is the family episode. So the point is, freeing your functional family is all about knowing that you spin your chakras to conduct the chi that allows your body to matter. If you want to learn way more about that, then start fasting, visit Chase Your Genius to learn how to fast, connect with God yourself, learn how Masons have stolen everything from Mercury and are weaponizing it to enslave you so you can liberate yourself. It's lit. Much love. Peace out. See you later. Yeah.